Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you completely missed the mark? Maybe you agreed to something you didn't want, or failed to get your point across, leaving you frustrated and misunderstood. What if you could turn those moments of confusion into opportunities for connection and success? Okay? There is a powerful guide that promises to transform your communication from a game of chance into a masterful art. And it holds the secrets you've been searching for. Welcome back to DreamAIReview, your guide to practical wisdom for the modern world. Today, we're diving into the brilliant insights of high-level communication skills by author Ly Tu Quyen. This isn't just another book about talking. It's a revolutionary roadmap for navigating the complexities of human interaction in our fast-paced, digitally driven lives. In a world of constant noise, where emails, texts, and video calls dominate our connections, the ability to communicate with intention and skill has never been more crucial. Ly Tu Quyen's work provides a powerful toolkit, not just for being heard, but for truly understanding and influencing the world around you. We'll break down the core principles of this book and give you actionable steps to elevate your communication skills starting today. The first, and perhaps most foundational pillar of high-level communication, is learning to listen the right way. Most of us don't really listen. We wait for our turn to speak, or formulating our rebuttal, our witty comeback, or our next brilliant point, while the other person is still talking. Ly Tu Quyen challenges this instinct, urging us to shift from passive hearing to active, empathetic listening. This means tuning in not just to the words being said, but to the emotions, intentions, and unspoken needs behind them. Imagine you're in a team meeting, and a colleague is hesitantly expressing concerns about a project deadline. An average listener might immediately jump in with solutions like, "We just need to work harder," or "Don't worry, we'll manage." But a high-level communicator listens differently. They notice the slight waver in their colleague's voice, the way they avoid eye contact. They listen to understand the root of the anxiety. Is it a lack of resources? A fear of failure? Confusion about the next steps? By focusing on understanding their perspective first, you open the door to genuine problem-solving and build a foundation of trust. Your action step is this. In your next important conversation, commit to being the last one to speak. Before you offer any opinion or solution, ask clarifying questions like, "Can you tell me more about that?" Or "What's the biggest challenge you see with this?" Your goal isn't to respond, it's to fully comprehend. This simple shift will dramatically change the dynamic and depth of your interactions. Once you've mastered the art of listening, you can move into the realm of negotiation and persuasion. This isn't about manipulation or winning at all costs. Instead, Ly Tu Quyen presents it as the art of achieving effective agreements while ensuring everyone involved feels respected and valued. The book offers a treasure trove of psychological tactics, which are really just deep insights into human nature. One of the most powerful concepts is finding the why behind the what. People don't just want things. They want what those things will do for them. For instance, when negotiating a salary, you aren't just asking for a number. You're asking for security, recognition for your skills, or the means to provide for your family. A high-level communicator understands this. Instead of just stating their desired salary, they might frame the conversation around the value they bring to the company and how a fair compensation package empowers them to be a more dedicated and effective team member. They connect their personal what the salary to the company's why, having a motivated, high-performing employee. This transforms a potentially adversarial negotiation into a collaborative discussion about mutual benefit. Here is your action step. Before your next negotiation, whether it's with your boss, a client, or even your partner about weekend plans, take 5 minutes to write down what you think the other person truly wants to achieve. What is their underlying motivation? By approaching the conversation with their goals in mind, you can frame your own needs in a way that aligns with theirs, making a yes far more likely. Now, let's talk about one of the most difficult yet liberating skills, the art of refusal. How many times have you said yes to a request when your mind, body, and schedule were screaming no? We do this to avoid conflict, to be seen as helpful, or out of fear of damaging a relationship. But Ly Tu Quyen argues that a strategic no is one of the most powerful tools for protecting your time, energy, and integrity. The key is to say no skillfully, without causing offense. A blunt no can feel like a rejection. High-level no, however, is delivered with empathy and a clear, respectful boundary. It often involves acknowledging the request, briefly and honestly explaining your limitation, and sometimes offering an alternative if appropriate. Imagine your boss asks you to take on a new project when you're already at full capacity. A panicked yes leads to burnout and subpar work. A blunt no might seem insubordinate, but a skillful refusal sounds like this: I appreciate you thinking of me for this project, and I understand its importance. Currently, my focus is dedicated to completing the X and Y projects by their deadlines to ensure they are successful. Taking on another major task right now would prevent me from giving any of them the attention they deserve. Could we discuss my involvement after I've delivered on my current commitments? This response is respectful, professional, and firm. It says no to the request while saying yes to quality and existing priorities. Your action step is to practice the sandwich method for saying no. Start with a positive or empathetic statement, the first slice of bread. Deliver your clear and concise no with a brief reason, the filling, and end with a positive alternative or future possibility, the second slice. This makes the refusal easier to digest and preserves the relationship. Navigating complex conversations requires a delicate dance between firmness and flexibility. Knowing when to stand your ground and when to bend is a hallmark of a master communicator. Ly Tu Quyen provides guidance on how to guide a conversation, ensuring you make your point without being cornered or losing control of the interaction. Firmness is essential when your core values, non-negotiable boundaries, or critical facts are at stake. This is when you must be clear, direct, and unwavering. For example, if a team member is consistently missing deadlines and impacting the entire project, a flexible, overly gentle approach may fail. You need to be firm in stating the facts, the consequences, and the required change in behavior. However, flexibility is just as vital. It's about being open to new information, acknowledging other valid viewpoints, and being willing to adjust your strategy to reach a common goal. Imagine you are debating a new marketing strategy with your team. You might be firm on the overall budget, as that is a non-negotiable constraint. But you can be flexible on the specific channels or creative approaches, allowing the team's expertise and ideas to shape the final plan. This balance prevents you from being either a pushover or a dictator. It shows you are both principled and reasonable. Your action step for this is to identify your rocks and your sand before any important discussion. Your rocks are your one or two non-negotiable principles or outcomes. Your sand is everything else you are willing to be flexible on. This mental preparation allows you to stay firm where it matters most and gracefully concede where it doesn't, guiding the conversation to a productive outcome. Finally, we arrive at the most underrated and profound communication skill: knowing when to be silent. In a world that celebrates witty retorts and constant contribution, silence can feel awkward or passive. But Ly Tu Quyen reframes it as a form of intelligent, strategic communication. Silence is not an absence of communication. It is a powerful part of it. It can be used to achieve several goals. First, a pause after someone has spoken gives them space. It shows you are thoughtfully considering their words, rather than just waiting to jump in. This conveys respect and encourages them to elaborate. Second, silence can be used for emphasis. After you've made a crucial point, stopping and letting silence hang in the air gives your words weight and allows them to sink in. Third, in a heated negotiation or argument, staying silent when you are tempted to react emotionally can de-escalate the situation. It gives you a moment to compose yourself and prevents you from saying something you'll later regret. It forces the other person to sit with what they've just said, and sometimes they may even talk themselves into a more reasonable position. Your action step is to intentionally use the 3-second rule in your conversations this week. After someone makes a significant point, or after you do, silently count to 3 before speaking again. Observe what happens. Does the other person add more detail? Does the tension in the room decrease? Does your own thinking become clearer? Master the power of the pause, and you will master a new level of communicative influence. Let's imagine a real-life scenario. Sarah, a junior project manager, was constantly overwhelmed. Her team wasn't meeting deadlines, and her manager was losing patience. She felt like she was failing. After reading high-level communication skills, she decided to change her approach. First, instead of just telling her team to work faster, she held one-on-one meetings and simply listened. She used active listening to discover one team member was struggling with childcare issues, and another was unclear about the technical requirements. Next, she approached her manager. Instead of making excuses, she used the art of negotiation. She presented her newfound understanding of the team's roadblocks and proposed a new, more realistic timeline, framing it as a strategy to ensure high-quality work, which was her manager's primary goal. She had to say no to a few additional low-priority tasks, but she did so skillfully, explaining her focus on the critical path of the main project, and knowing when to be firm on the new timeline, but flexible on other details. And by using strategic silence to let her well-reasoned points land, she completely turned the situation around. Her manager agreed to the new plan, her team felt understood and motivated, and the project was successfully completed. Sarah didn't just become a better manager, she became a trusted leader. To sum it all up, transforming your communication skills isn't about memorizing clever lines. It's about making fundamental shifts in your approach. First, listen to understand, not just to reply. Second, negotiate collaboratively by focusing on the why behind the what. Third, learn to say no with grace to protect your priorities. Fourth, know when to be firm on your principles and flexible on the details. And finally, embrace the strategic power of silence. Remember, this is a journey of progress, not perfection. Start by focusing on just one of these areas and watch how your professional and personal relationships begin to transform. If you found these ideas helpful, please hit the like button. Let us know in the comments which one of these high-level skills you are going to apply this week. And for more practical wisdom to help you thrive in the modern world, make sure to subscribe to DreamAIReview. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.